mask, and he looked so small and confused. He knew who our
The Senate
family
has
was,
begun
but
the
he didn't know what
confirmation
was
hearings
going
for
on.
Supreme
I
Court
thought it was
Justice
going to be the
nominee
last time
Amy
that I
Coney
saw
Barrett.
him.
KUSI political commentator Esther Valdes. Clayton joins us with thoughts on this confirmation hearing and Judge Barrett's position on a variety of issues, including immigration. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you get to watch these hearings very closely, or are you like me, so consumed with your day-to-day that you're kind of watching out of the corner of your eye?
I think the average American will not watch the confirmation hearings, but when we think about the upcoming elections, which are less than 500 hours away, the election is really about what is going to happen after the election. We could very well see that these election results will be litigated and will eventually end up in the Supreme Court. So the vacancy that was now caused by the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to be preeminent in the minds of a lot of politicians, especially Donald Trump, where the election results may be decided by Amy Coney Barrett herself in siding with a conservative majority if she is confirmed. That conservative majority would be consolidated with 6 votes to 3 votes on the liberal side of the bench.
And it's important to note that should she not find her way to the bench, and we find ourselves in a 4-4 deadlock on any one issue, that goes to the lower court's ruling, right? I mean, that would become the law.
That is correct. So this is a very extremely important confirmation hearing. And what we can expect to see, and in reading her opening statement, not only is she focusing on the fact that she's a wife, she's a mother, she's a person of faith, but she's also showing her intent to be ideologically just like her mentor, Antonin Scalia, where she was a law clerk. She is demonstrating, and in her opening statement, she clearly denoted that she expects to rule and uphold the Constitution, be a strict interpretation of the law, and not to make it out to be something that it's not created to be. And she even quoted Antonin Scalia in saying, "We are a nation of laws and not men." Even though we may want an intended result, she's not going to be an activist judge like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So for Democrats, that puts them in a really hard pigeonhole to be able to attack her as they did with Judge Kavanaugh. They really have to limit their attacks on her, not based on her faith, but just on her policies and that which we know, which they're tending to attack her on the fact that she's very conservative, that she has demonstrated that she may be willing to overturn Roe v. Wade and uphold the president's immigration policies. So those are the type of attacks that we can see today, which for a lot of us are going to be very interesting, especially if we practice in those fields.
Well, and that's why you want to talk to us specifically on immigration. A justice does not get to this high up the food chain without having a record on certain topics. She has sided with Mr. Trump on a variety of his immigration policies, has she not?
Yes, since 2017, when she was nominated and confirmed as an appeals judge, she has only been able to decide on one immigration case. In that immigration case, she sided with the Trump administration, where the Trump administration's policy in withholding legal residency for people who were deemed to be a public charge. She sided with them, and she even issued a 40-page dissent that contradicted a lot of what the majority was trying to explain. She went on to say that the laws themselves have not changed, but the executive branch can then interpret the immigration laws to not allow people who may be deemed to receive public benefits to receive full citizenship and, first of all, permanent residency. So a lot of the Democrats are also going to attack her on those immigration views. But ultimately, the Democrats are very limited in what they can do. The Constitution will allow the Republicans to confirm her. They do have the votes. A lot of these attacks are just wordplay. So they're very limited on what they'll be able to do. They're hoping for a Biden win that won't have to go to the Supreme Court. So we'll see what happens in these confirmation hearings, if there's going to be the amount of vitriol that we saw with the Kavanaugh hearings. And also, very interestingly, is going to be Kamala Harris's role in this. Of course, she's our senator here from California, but also lately she's a vice presidential nominee for Joe Biden. So we're going to see how one woman is able to attack another woman without making it seem like this is a gender issue or even a Roe v. Wade issue, which really is the underlying current in all of this judicial nomination. Whether a woman is going to have the right to choose to have an abortion, whether Roe v. Wade will be overturned, or whether she will allow precedent to stand from the 1973 decision granting abortion rights to American women.
Esther, I've lived long enough to see a lot of so-called allegedly conservative justices be nominated to the Supreme Court, but once they put the black robe on, they get a little squishy, i.e. Justice Roberts. How confident are you that Coney Barrett is a reliable conservative vote?
Well, it's really hard to say because when we talk about the justices, they're living in a bubble called Washington, D.C., and I just flew back from there this weekend. And when they have to associate and entertain people who also live in that bubble, they feel a lot of societal pressure to be able to become more activist and side with the politics and the political climate of the time. But what we do see in Amy Coney Barrett is exactly what Dianne Feinstein said. The dogma lives loudly in you. This is a woman of faith. Generationally, she's been a practicing strict Roman Catholic believer. She's living it out, having adopted 2 children from Haiti. She's a mother of 6, married for over 26 years. So she's not only a practicing Catholic like Joe Biden claims to be, but also she is strictly trying to demonstrate that through her profession. So I don't think she will capitulate to the liberal left, just like we saw earlier in June with John Roberts and Justice Kavanaugh in upholding portions of the Affordable Care Act and siding with the liberal side of the bench. I think she's a game changer here, and that's what the Democrats fear, and that's what they're unable to stop to date. But it will be interesting to watch how they will be able to attack her or even delay the confirmation hearings to end after the election.
Esther Valdes, Clayton, thank you so much for making time for KUSI. Have a safe day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Today.